What is the purpose of a general ledger? In accounting, a general ledger is used to record all of a company's transactions. Within a general ledger, transactional data is organized into assets, liabilities, revenues, expenses, and owner's equity. After each subledger has been closed out, the accountant prepares the trial balance. This data from the trial balance is then used to create the company's financial statements, such as its balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flows, and other financial reports. What do you know about balancing a ledger account? To know the net effect of all the business transactions recorded in the ledger account, the accounts need to be balanced. Thus, balancing of ledger account means the balances of debit and credit side should be equal. Tell me, what are the purposes of maintaining control ledgers? The purpose of maintaining control ledgers are sundry debtors, sundry creditors, advances to staff. Tell me, what are control ledgers? In a business, sometimes it is not feasible to carry accounts of all the suppliers and customers in the main ledger. In such cases, apart from general or main ledger, the control ledgers are maintained. Control ledgers record the individual accounts in the end of the period. Balance shown in the main ledger has to tally with the balance in the individual ledger accounts maintained in the control ledger. What is mean by business? Business is an economic activity involving the production or procurement and sale of certain goods and services for the satisfaction of human need in the society. Which steps would you take before you approve an invoice for payment as a general ledger? This question measures your understanding of the invoice verification process, so make sure you have checked it out before going to the interview. Such a typical process should involve checking to see if the received goods are in a satisfactory manner. Recording in the notebook. One more thing, it is also good to describe the importance of each step to the interviewers. How would you reconcile a general ledger? The general ledger is the master set of accounts that aggregates all transactions recorded for a business. When a person is reconciling the general ledger, this usually means that individual accounts within the general ledger are being reviewed to ensure that the source documents match the balances shown in each account. The reconciliation process is a common activity just prior to the arrival of the auditors for the annual audit to ensure that the accounting records are in pristine conditions. Tell me, how many periods should have in general ledger, taking into account the annual closing. Their total periods will be 13. First 12 periods for each month and 13th period for the year closing transactions. List some steps of the concept of reconciliation of general ledger. The concept of reconciling the general ledger can also refer to examining the general ledger as a whole to ensure that all accounts are being aggregated into the financial statements. This reconciliation process involves the following steps. Summarize the ending balances in all revenue accounts and verify that the aggregate amount matches the revenue total in the income statement. Summarize the ending balance in all expense accounts and verify that the aggregate amount matches the expense total in the income statement. This can be conducted at the individual expense line item level in the income statement. Summarize all asset, liability, and equity accounts and verify that the aggregate amounts match the respective line items in the balance sheet. Explain differences between general ledger and subledger. Recording of financial information is books of account as per standard accounting principle. Both ledgers are used to record a financial transaction. The general ledger is the principal set of accounts. It records all financial transactions. The general ledger contains all debit and credit entries of transactions, and entry for the same is done in different accounts. Mainly, there are 5 types of accounts: assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expense. A subledger is the subset of the general ledger in accounting. It is not possible to record all transactions in the general ledger. Hence, transactions are recorded in subledger in a different account, and their total sum is reflected in the general ledger. Ledger helps in the understanding of the financial of business and helps in the analysis of transactions. Please tell us, why should we hire you as a general ledger? This is the part where you link your skills, experience, education, and your personality to the job itself. This is why you need to be utterly familiar with the job description as well as the company culture. Remember though, it is best to back them up with actual examples of, say, how you are a good team player. It is possible that you may not have as many skills, experience, or qualifications as the other candidates. What then will set you apart from the rest? Energy and passion might. What does a ledger posting means? All the business transactions are first recorded in journal or subsidiary books in a chronological order when they actually take place, and from there the transactions of similar nature are transferred to ledger, and this process of transferring is called as ledger posting. Do you know what is a general ledger account? A general ledger account is an account or record used to sort and store balance sheet and income statement transactions. Examples of general ledger accounts include the asset accounts such as cash, accounts receivable, inventory, investments, land, and equipment. List some steps for reconciliation process at account level. The reconciliation process at the account level typically comprises the following steps. Beginning balance investigation. Match the beginning balance in the account to the ending reconciliation detail from the prior period. If the amounts do not match, investigate the reason for the variance in the prior period. If the account has not been reconciled for some time, it is possible that the error lies several periods in the past. Current period investigation. Match the transactions reported in the account within the period to the underlying transactions and adjust as necessary. Adjustments review. Review all adjusting journal entries recorded in the account within the period for appropriateness and adjust as necessary. Reversal review. Ensure that all journal entries that should have reversed within the period have been reversed. Ending balance review. Verify that the ending detail for the account matches the ending account balance. List some steps for balancing a ledger account. This involves following steps. First, total of both sides are taken. Secondly, the difference between the totals of both sides is calculated. If the debt side is in excess to the credit side, then place the difference on the credit side by writing by balance carry forward. If the total of the credit side is in excess to the debt side, place the difference on the debt side by writing to balance carry forward. After placing the difference on the appropriate side, make sure the totals of both sides are equal. Please give me your self-introduction as a general ledger. Explain briefly about your education history. Explain briefly about your work experience. Explain briefly about your skills and strengths. What is the difference between ledger and general ledger? General ledger means those ledgers are used commonly in all types of business organizations. Example, purchases, sales, printing and stationery, etc. Ledger means for which ledger is created according to the particular organization's business requirement. Why would you like to work with us as a general ledger? The interviewer wishes to see how much you know about the company culture and whether you can identify the organization's values and vision. Every organization has its strong points, and these are the ones that you should highlight in your answer. Please tell me, what is a general ledger? A general ledger is a complete record of financial transactions over the life of a company. The ledger holds account information that is needed to prepare financial statements and includes accounts for assets, liabilities, owner's equity, revenues, and expenses. Explain cost sheet orientation. Cost sheet is a sheet where all the cost should be recorded which is related to the product. Explain what is procedure for testing after implementation as functional consultant in General Ledger. Testing involves a step-by-step check of various transactions configured in the SAP system. Example, in case of we need to check if the purchase cycle is working in the system as it is in a real business scenario. That is, whether it is generating PRS, RFQ, PO, GI, LIV properly, and there are no errors during transactions. Explain what qualities have you got that would make you a good accountant. Aside from the obvious ones such as numeracy and interpersonal skills, key skills will include determination and self-discipline to get through the difficult professional examinations, and an interest in the business world generally, an ability to work in and ultimately lead the teams, strong analytical skills, good verbal and written communication skills, and curiosity, particularly on the audit side, are some of the qualities that you could mention. Explain what is an accrual. Accrual basis of accounting means that the cost or revenues of events are recognized in the period in which they occur, though the cash flows may take place in another accounting period, like for a period of July 5 to October 5. If the organization was due to receive $10 million from an individual X but has not received yet for some reason, will receive in November 5. It would still be accounted for in the period July 5 to October 5 and not the period starting from November 5. Explain what is the significance of responsibility in Oracle applications. Users cannot access the concurrent programs just like forms unless the program is attached to a responsibility through a request group. Thus, the responsibilities provide complete security by restricting access to forms, reports, tables through data groups, and also to specific records through profile options like set of books ID, MOORG ID.